Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to Question Reality with Priscilla Leona, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome to Question Reality. I'm your host, Priscilla Leona, and we are coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. If this is your first time tuning in, our show is going to help you question your career reality. Now, this show is for you if you are considering a career in the entertainment industry. And our guests will provide you with advice on how and what it takes to successfully pursue a career in the entertainment industry. Now, our guests include Emmy winners, Grammy winners, Tony Award winners, reality TV stars, producers, directors, actors, singers, comedians, casting agents, talent managers, screenwriters, novelists, and the list goes on and on and on and on. If they are working professionally in show business, we're definitely going to have them on this show to give you entertainment career advice. Now, we also make sure that our guests are at different stages of their careers, from professional to beginner. So that means that we'll definitely have someone also on the show who will be able to help you with your show business career questions at the level that you are right now, or you want to be, rather. Now, you can listen to or download any of our past shows by going to our archive page on the latalkradio.com, website, and you just go to the Channel 1 link, and there's a drop-down box that will appear. You just click Question Reality, and this takes you directly to our archive page. And our shows are also available to listen to for free on iTunes under the podcast section, Stitcher.com, and of course Google Play. So just type in Question Reality Radio in the search box, and there we are. Oh my goodness. Now, if you want to find out about our future guests, as you know, we've been on the show for 8 years, very successful show, and we are always booked 6 months to a year in advance. But we got 2 more months that we're booking, actually October, November, 3 more months that we're booking for right now. So if you're working professionally in the entertainment industry or know someone who is and they want to promote their project, they want to promote themselves, please have them come on the website and submit. Now, that's a totally different website. You have to go to the official Question Reality website, and that address is questionrealityradioshow.com. questionrealityradioshow.com, not latalkradio.com. That's where we air the show, but the official website, questionrealityradioshow.com, and you can submit to be on the show. Now, I also want to encourage you to download our new app for Android and iPhone and Google Play so that you can listen to all of the other exciting and informative shows that we have here on LA Talk Radio as well. And again, go to our homepage, latalkradio.com, and the apps are located at the bottom of the page on the right-hand side. So there you go. Now, as always, we have a fantastic guest on the show today. Another client of my favorite, one of my favorite, I deal with a lot of PR agents, so I can't say the favorite, one of the favorite PR agents that I deal with. He submitted his client to us, and we were just so impressed with his story. His name is Rich, and I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, Meiman. If I'm not, I apologize, and he can correct me. But Rich Meiman is a client of Dan Lasky, who is a wonderful, fantastic PR agent that I'm dealing with. His website is Lasky Digital. I highly recommend him if you are just starting out in your career, if you're in the middle of your career, or if you are professionally working your career. He is fantastic, just very professional. Now, I want you to go and check Rich Meiman out. He is an actor and a director. You can find him on IMDb. He's also on Twitter at @rmeiman and Facebook, of course, Rich Meiman, and he's on YouTube. And we are going to talk to him briefly in a couple minutes with his bio. I can't talk. I've had a wild turkey cocktail and I'm just loaded right now. No, I'm not actually, but I can't get it out. I don't know what's going on. I'm distracted by this Popeye chicken strips that I'm looking at that my husband brought me for dinner. I'm like, oh my God, I'm smelling it. I want to take a bite, but I can't right now. So what I'm trying to say is we're going to talk to Rich Meiman in a couple minutes. We're going to find out all about him. We're going to find out his career advice to you if you are doing what he did, which I find is absolutely fantastic. He is a transitioned actor. And what I mean by that, no, he didn't have a sex change. He was a corporate man. He was in corporate America. He's working as a professional and executive, and he transitioned into being a successful actor. And I always love those stories because we usually have beginning actors or people who have always wanted to be actor and now at the middle stage, or they're professional and they've won an Oscar or a Tony or an Emmy. We're talking to someone who worked professionally and made that change, which is the basis of my show, which is to question your reality. If you're pushing those pencils and you want to make a career change and you've been doing something for 20 years, you're like, oh my God, it's just too late. I just can't do it. Well, Rich Meiman is a success story that we are going to hear from in a couple minutes. Now, first, I want to tell you something very exciting. One of our guests that was on the show last year, he has had such success. My God, he has swept the country music charts. His name is, I know everybody remembers him because I got lots of emails. His name is Ed Roman. And as promised, I promised everyone that I would bring his single from his new album back, and I'm going to play that for you right now. It's his first single from Red Omen, the Red Omen album called I Am Love. And in case you didn't catch the show, I highly suggest that you go to my archive page on LA Talk Radio and pull up the interview, because this guy gave very sage advice on how to become a country music singer. He is actually a Canadian singer-songwriter, which, believe it or not, I have a lot of Canadians who are country singers. Go figure. Ed Roman, he exploded onto the worldwide music scene in 2014 with his critically acclaimed ode to his northern homeland entitled Letters from High Latitudes. Now, of course, you know he's an award-winning country singer, and his album received more than 100 college AM/FM radio stations in North America, over 400 radio stations worldwide. He is back with his brand new, vividly colorful, and ominously titled collection, Red Omen. And it was produced with renowned engineer Michael Jack, who worked with Bono, Hilary Duff, and Rush. And the new album continues to they're just rave reviews. It's eclectic. They say it's earthy, funky, magical, journey through all the genres. And Red Omen has something for every listener. It's fantastic. And any mood that you're in. And it's not out yet. It's coming out, being released, official worldwide release Tuesday, June 7th. It's on pre-order right now. You can pre-order on iTunes, Amazon, and all the major music retailers, and he's fantastic. So I'm just going to play you a little clip. I'm not going to play the whole song, or else you could just download it or record it. So I'm only going to play you like a minute and a half. So listen to it. If you love it, go check out Ed Roman on iTunes, Amazon. So this is called I Am Love, and we're going to just hear a minute and a half. So let's play that now. When we come back, we'll talk to Rich Meiman. Okay, take it away, Ronan.
I'm a radical. I am love. I'm a messenger. I'm a radical. I am love. Like any other human being who's cruciform control, no longer in search of meaning. I'll utilize my soul to be a messenger, to be a radical, to be
hear one lyric in there about a dog dying, a wife, or an ex in Texas. I love it. I love it. So that is Ed Roman's new album. Again, Red Omen. This song, I Am Love. Go to iTunes, Amazon right now. The official worldwide release is Tuesday, June 7th. Yay, Ed Roman. We're so proud of you. All right, on to our guest. Now, this guy, again, Richard Rich Meiman, he is a New York native, and he's also my second guest from Yonkers. I was talking to him briefly, and I said, my goodness, I didn't think I would ever get another guest from Yonkers, but this is my second one. I love Yonkers. I love the word Yonkers. I'm obsessed with the play Lost in Yonkers. So I don't know. There's something very happy about interviewing this guest, only to do with the word Yonkers. Okay, so he wanted to be a professional actor since visiting Los Angeles with his family as a child, and he went to Universal Studios and he just knew, that's it, I want to be an actor. And this was as a child again, and he was on his way to becoming an actor in his youth. He had various little acting projects, and then he later joined the inaugural class of Lehman College Theater for the Performing Arts, and he was going to do it. He was like, yes, I'm on my way to becoming an actor. But then he had to set his dream aside to focus on raising a family, and enjoyed a career as a publisher and then later on as an investment banker. But in 2012, and we're going to find out what happened, but in 2012, Rich woke up one morning and he said, you know what? It is time for me to leave corporate America, and I am going back to my dream. I'm going to pursue it of becoming a professional actor. That's it. I'm doing it. So he went out, he did it, and he immediately landed featured background roles on television and also in feature films. And he is so professional. He has a great work ethic and a natural ease on camera. And that just really brought him into the eye of top directors and actors like Michael Slavis from Law & Order, Special Victims Unit, Ed Bianchi from Boardwalk Empire, and Steve Buscemi, Boardwalk Empire. By the way, just finished the whole entire season. I only planned to watch one episode of Boardwalk Empire. Became obsessed. Had to watch it. Took like a whole week when I had some time, and it took me like a week. I think that's pretty good to watch 4 or 5 seasons. I can't remember how many it was. Oh my God, this is one of the best shows I've ever watched. It is so emotional. I highly recommend it if you haven't watched it. And he also worked with Paul Rudd from Ant-Man, All Is Bright. And then Rich soon landed lead roles in memorable short films and a feature-length indie film. One of them called Ask Jeeves, Where Is He Now? Remember old Jeeves from the browsers? I believe that was a browser, Ask Jeeves. And Alpha, 1.7 Alpha. And it was on the set of this film, 1.7 Alpha, that Rich first worked with promising young director named, oh my goodness, I hope I don't butcher this poor guy's name, Quanah, I think, Quanah, Quanah J. Hicks, who cast Rich as a principal actor in his upcoming feature film, Saturn's Window. So without further ado, he's probably asleep by now with this long-ass intro for my show, but we're going to see if he's still there. Welcome, Rich. We're doing it remote because he's in Yonkers, I think, or somewhere in New York. He's lost somewhere in New York. Welcome, Rich.
Thank you, Priscilla. Hi, I'm awake. I'm not sleeping. I like that song. I like the song. I give it an 8 for dancing and because I like the lyrics. So I give it an 8.
I loved it too. Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that you said that. That's very, very courteous and very kind of you. Very eloquent. I really appreciate that. You are, we were talking briefly before the show, born in the Bronx, New York, but you were raised in Yonkers. Oh my gosh. Now, I'm from Connecticut, but I never ventured to Yonkers, believe it or not. I always wanted to go. What is it like being a boy raised in Yonkers? What was it like? Give us some of what happened when you were little, because when you were little, you came here to LA, but in Yonkers, was there not like that theater acting kind of inspiration? You wanted to go to Broadway? What was it about coming all the way to LA and going to Universal that inspired you rather than, being a theater actor?
Well, when we went out to LA, my parents were going to move out there. We were going to my father was going to go into business with my uncle, but things didn't work out that way, so we decided to come back to New York. And it was the thing about film had always captured my attention, and it started when I was even younger than that. One of my friends and I used to go to our local public library to watch silent movies, and I was just captured by how a actor can take an emotion without even saying a word, and you know what he's thinking, and you know what he's about to do, and that just drew me in.
I'm so glad that you said that you started with silent films, because I did too. Now let me see how you feel about this. I was absolutely mesmerized, believe it or not, by Baby Peggy. Do you remember Baby Peggy?
Yeah, I do. I do remember Baby Peggy.
I couldn't believe it.
Way before my time, but I do know it.
Yeah, she was one of the very first, young actresses that they had this child of 2 years old that they would put on a bear, that the child, I just watched a whole documentary on her about silent movies, and they had her on a bear. The girl did her own stunts too. Basically, they put her on a bear, they put her on a wolf, they had her out in the ocean, and they would flip her and throw her in the water, and she almost drowned. I mean, they didn't have a union back then, Rich. But,
right. Right.
I too can see where when you watch silent movies that would spark you up, because it did me as well. So continue. What did you do when you were little? Did you do any acting?
Well, I used to grab my father's 8mm and Super 8mm and make movies, make our own little movies. I made a little bar scene. I did a bar scene where I was fighting, but I was fighting myself, so I was editing back and forth between myself and another character who I dressed differently, and it was just a fun thing doing that. And a couple of my relatives would come over and we'd film some crazy stuff. And then I went to a boarding school in Massachusetts for a summer program, and it was not just for fun. It was, I had to buckle down because I wasn't doing too great in school. So I got accepted into this inner city program that they had. And it was there where I really was drawn into theater, and musical theater in particular. I went and watched a couple of rehearsals, and one day one of the actors was fooling around, and the director basically told him to leave stage because he was a nuisance and causing issues. And she asked me if I was interested to come up on stage. And I was like, I was a little shy. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And the other people convinced me to come on up. She said, you know all the lyrics, you know the choreography. So after that, I said, okay, I'll learn more of the lyrics. And I then became a cast member in Oliver for Fagin's gang in the ensemble. And after that, I was hooked.
Wow, I can see where that would spark you up. Now, what I wanted to really bring across in this show was your miraculous and successful achievement of coming from a field in publishing and printing and financial medical equipment. I think you were an investment banker. Seems like you've had a lot of jobs in the corporate world, right? So you're working in the corporate world. I imagine you were successful, or you liked it, or maybe you didn't like it. What was it that happened to you that in 2012 you finally said, you know what, I've had enough, I'm coming back to join the life and pursuit of an actor? What was that like?
Well, I think the definition of success is subjective. People could look at success as making millions and millions of dollars, or you could look at success as I've achieved this goal in my life, now it's time to move to the next goal. Well, I didn't leave corporate America. Right.
Ralph Waldo Emerson, his poem on success is what I live by. That's my mantra. So it depends on what your idea of success is.
Sure.
I think you're a success from being able to transition, because a lot of times, as you well know, Rich, a lot of times people want to pursue a dream in entertainment, and for some reason they have to they have to take the reins. They got to go out there and make the money, bread and butter. They got to support a family. And what happens is along the way, they get stuck. They start working a job that they don't want to be in, the corporate world, and they never make it out, Rich. They never make it out. And that's why I call you a success, because you wanted to be an actor. You went into corporate America because you had to, or whatever, support your family, but you didn't give up. You went back to it. So that in itself is a success, because you started with a dream and you're going to end with a dream. Whether you win an Oscar, an Emmy, a Tony, or you get a write-up at community theater, you are a success. So that's fun.
Well, thank you, and just being nominated is enough for me.
Me too.
I don't see where I had left corporate America. The way I see it, unfortunately, because of being so entrenched in that world, corporate America left me. I just saw way too much greed and I don't know. I don't know if I want to call it sociopathic behavior, but I just saw so much greed and narcissistic behavior that in my industries, that I just was realized that I need to go on to my next phase in life, because if I don't do it now, I'll never do it.
You do realize that you have entered another world of narcissism.
Oh, of course. I mean, it's pure narcissism.
You do.
It's just
entertainment.
It's just it's just a little different type of narcissism, in that we're there to entertain people, and we can, take a character from words on a piece of paper and bring them to life.
A lot of people don't realize that you have to. I mean, if narcissism is a component that you have to have at being an entertainer, and a lot of people who are not in entertainment, they don't like that characteristic trait. They don't appreciate it. They don't understand that is a key element. You have to be so not so self-absorbed, but you got to be a little bit self-absorbed. There's a fine line, but in order to really love what you do, to be an actor, you got to love yourself enough to want to transition into different characters, and that does take narcissism. So the more narcissism, the better the actor, in my opinion. But continue.
Well, the narcissism, if we're going to go into a philosophical discussion, and the narcissism in the corporate level goes to another level, and that becomes sociopathic. Whereas in the acting, as an actor, as a professional, you play the sociopath. You are not that person unless you take yourself to that stage,
right?
And to that part in your mind.
Now, Rich, what do you feel, Rich? What do you feel are the pros and cons of the life of an actor? Because you've seen both.
Well, like anything else, cons would be rejection. And you have to be prepared to be rejected every single day. And if you're rejected every single day and you can handle the no, when you get that yes, all the no's disappear. Because eventually someone will see something that they want in you, no matter what it is. You could say something a certain way. You could look a certain way. You could get rejected 10,000 times. If you could handle it, that's great. That's one of the cons of the industry. A pro in the what I would say for the industry, it's just the satisfaction of knowing that you may have changed someone's mind who was watching you perform. You have made them either smile or cry. You've created an emotion. You've made them hate you or hate to love you. So I think there's these dualities that exist between the pros and the cons, where in my instance, the pros outweighed the cons. So I decided, okay, I can handle the rejection. I've tried it, in the investment banking, you're asking people for tens of millions of dollars. I had no shame in asking for that. And when they said no, I was like, okay, no problem. I went to the next one. So I got over that obstacle, though sometimes it still hurts. But you get over it.
Right.
You get over it because it's not you. You might have fit what they were looking for at that moment, but hey, you may not be right for this, but they have you in mind, they being casting directors or producers, have you in mind for something else.
Exactly.
So
now, you starting out, you did some acting when you were young. I want you, this is a two-part question. What advice would you give to young kids who want to become an actor? What advice do you have for older people who are working a day job or have worked a day job and they want to make that transition into a career professionally as an actor? What advice would you give them?
Okay, well, if you're looking at someone, a youth actor, child actor, it's very difficult because you have a lot of influences. You have your family and you have your school that will shape the way you think. The key with a child actor and the parents is just follow through. Make sure that, if you get offered a role, naturally your parents are going to give you the permission to do it unless you are emancipated, but it's the follow through. Like any time in business, you need to follow through on something and maintain a level of maturity. That's very important. And as you'll see with well-known child actors, there's this persona about them. They seem to be well together, though we hear the stories and the nightmares of child actors only because they didn't have an influence around them to keep positivity in their world. If that you choose as a youngster to go into that world, make sure you have your support system in place. Make sure that you have strong ties to your family, to your school, to your acting program. And that way you can build and will be able to build a solid career out of that. As an adult, if someone, you're sitting behind a desk and you're saying, I give up, I can't do this anymore. It's so hard to get up and walk away because, it's the weekly salary. You're doing well. You're making money. You put food on the table. Now all of a sudden,
the medical
you
benefits,
want to be right, and medical benefits. I mean, it goes down the line. Now you're making a decision to change your entire world. Well, you got to make sure that if you're with a partner, your partner decides that's, I could support that, and not just support it, saying, hey, I want to see you succeed at this, but be there for you in those days where you're not getting it. You're not getting the role. You're not getting the audition. You're being rejected. And having the person, again, a support system behind you that will say, it's okay, just this is something you want. I know you can do it. Keep going.
Do you do it in little steps? Do you do it in little steps, like go from a full-time job to a part-time job, and then maybe do some auditions? Or what would be the most seamless form of transition for a person who's working a day job and wants to pursue a career, and they're an older person? Yeah.
I would say don't leave your day job, but you can still pursue. I mean, if you take acting classes. If you want to take an acting class, take an acting class. See if it's right for you. Take a film class. Learn more about the production of a film. So when you do go on set, you understand the nomenclature. If they say pictures up, back to first position, let's, do that again. Sound is speeding. Those terms. And if you've decided that's what you want to do, I would say you sign up with with casting, like say
background actors,
central casting, for example, and you give it a taste. You see what it's like to be on set, and that's what I did. Although I didn't have a job at the time, I was unemployed at the time in 2012. In 2012. So I decided, this is a time for me to do it. I have the flexibility and the freedom to do it. So now I'm doing it.
Right.
But
another way would be if like Rich did. Rich worked a long time. You can also, if you wanted to pursue a career as a child and something happened and you had to take a day job, always be thinking, you know what? I might go back to it one day. I'm not going to give up my dream. And what you do is you take a certain percentage of every single paycheck and you put it in a savings account or you put it in something, and you have that there so that 10, 15, 20 years when you freak out or you have your midlife crisis and you quit your job or you get fired or whatever happens, you got a nice little nest egg separately from what you need to survive that is just dedicated for acting classes and headshots and all of the essential tools that you do need, because again, people, it is a pricey little project. Headshots cost a lot. You have to get them update constantly. Classes cost a lot. It is kind of a pricey thing. Don't venture into this if you have $50 in your pocket. You gotta save. So again, that's just my little tip to throw in there. So now, when you decided to pursue a career and make that transition, what was the hardest part for you? Was it, now that you had to you didn't have medical benefits, or maybe you did because you're married and she had you, but I'm trying to get more information for, like, maybe if you're single, which you're not, so you probably can't speak to that, but I'm sure you know people. So what would be the hardest part for a single person who is in the same position, quits a corporate or executive job and decides that wants to be an actor? Now, they're going to have money, but what if it's just a person, say Rich, that was working at a regular old day job, maybe at a printer, or just made like minimum wage, but they've been doing it 20 years for whatever reason? What's going to be the hardest thing for them to do? Is it,
I think the hardest thing for someone, well, first of all, I am single. I'm no longer married, but I am single. I do have 2 grown children who are out on their own and succeeding in their lives. The hardest part of, if you have just a minimum wage job, which a lot of actors, we do have those jobs, not necessarily minimum wage, but we have those part-time jobs, so we could afford to go out and buy those headshots, so we could afford to go to the acting classes, to go to a workshop, to do a play, for example, if we want, because it takes up a lot of time. But for a single person who's earning, who's barely getting by, first of all, you have to have, I believe, you have to have the passion for it. If you have the passion for it, you will find ways to supplement your income, or find ways to get to that class, to get that headshot. There are some people out there that do things. I know the saying, if you do something for nothing, it's going to come out with nothing. Okay, it's nothing in life is free. But then you can do barter things. I did a short, for example, and the payment was, the guy was a great headshot photographer, and the payment was he was going to give me free headshots. I said, great, let's do it. Mm-hmm. Those are the things. You have choices, and you could find things like that, and you could ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. You see the DP on set. If you're on a set for a short, see the DP, and you build up a conversation and a relationship, and you ask them, hey, do headshots? And 9 times out of 10, they'll charge you a half of what you would charge, what someone would charge if you went into the studio, but you could get the same results. Obviously, you need to be very careful who you choose, but those are examples of, possibilities. What is possible? Everything is possible.
Right. You don't ask and you shall receive. Now, what do you feel are direct, because I think you're not only an actor, but you're a director as well. Is that true?
Oh, no? Actually, I'm not really not directing now. I'm actually I'm working on a production as a producer, but I'm also managing talent.
Oh, you're a talent. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Wow. Now let's talk about that. I don't think I've ever had that person on the show before. So are you working at a talent management company, or you're independent talent? Okay. So you're working.
No, I'm working. Well, I work with my manager, actually. My manager is Julia Peters Parmita from the Parmita Group they're based in Santa Monica. And I started with Julia last year, and she was only able to really get me auditions and work for LA. And I was willing to go out there to work as an LA local hire. I still am. Would go out there for offered a role. So I got a few auditions. I never booked anything out in L.A., and she was talking about possibly opening up a New York branch or a Northeast branch. And she asked if I were interested because of my business background and my background as an actor. And I said, yeah, I would most likely like to do something like that. January of 2016, we started a Northeast branch of the Parmita Group. I'm in charge of the New York division. I have 41 clients. I'm looking for some new clients in the New York clients. And I want to keep my New York client base at a minimum so I can pay attention to my clients. I like helping others.
Boutique.
A boutique, yeah, we're a medium size. We've been around for 12 years. The company has been around for 12 years, and it's a mid-level boutique firm. We have clients who have been guest stars on network television shows, who have been series regulars on network television shows. I've just booked a couple of my clients, one on Gotham and one on Law and Order, SVU.
Don't tell me, was that our beloved Danny Doherty? Danny Doherty?
No, not Danny. I don't rep Danny. No, I don't rep Danny.
Oh, okay.
I love Danny. Danny's a great actor. I just love everything about him.
He's the other guy.
Yes, I know he is.
Ah.
Yes, he is.
So what type
Although we didn't grow up.
Yonkers
is pretty big. Yonkers is the fourth largest, as I remember, was the fourth largest city of New York. So it's pretty big. You don't get to know. He lived on one side. I lived on the other side.
Oh, he's great. I love talking to him.
Yeah, Danny's awesome.
You know, I had him on my show, and then he was in an upcoming episode of one of my favorite dramas, Law and Order Special Victims Unit. And I said, "Oh my God, okay, what scene are you in?" So I had the whole family, and we saw him in the scene, and oh my gosh, it just warmed the cockles on my heart because I just love his personality. He's got a fantastic personality. He's a very smart actor, very, very smart.
Yes, he is.
He and I call him that because he emphasizes the business of acting. He really understands that this is a business. It's called show business. It is not, it's something to take lightly. You really need to understand that, and I really respect that he knows that. Okay, so you are also a talent manager. What types of people are you looking for? Are you always looking for like the typical agencies here in LA where they want the bimbo blonde? Oh, I didn't say that. The blonde, buxom actress and the gorgeous guy, or do you have more character actors? Are you open to actors submitting to you who are character actors? More like a Steve Buscemi type look and things like that.
Well, based on what I'm looking for, the gamut, obviously, and this is not a solicitation to bring in clients. This is just, a matter of conversation.
No, this is about, character actors, because I feel personally that most of these talent agencies, believe me, I have lots of friends who own talent agencies, they tend to focus. This is one of my dinner topic conversations with them. And I say, can you please start bringing in more character actors? What's wrong with having, some buxom actors and actresses, the little heavier kind? What about, having some disabled actors in your pocket? About having, more diverse, because you never know when you're going to get the call. But, they just want the beautiful people. I don't know. So that's what I'm trying to say. Do you have that flexibility as a talent manager?
I do have that flexibility. In fact, I like to take on. They could be a beautiful person, but they could have a character look.
Right.
And you could go on to the extreme side. I mean, the extreme character look. Someone straight out of the 1920s. Do I always look for? I look for when I'm looking for talent. It depends on who I want to add to the roster. For example, I had a great conversation with this young lady yesterday. I'm looking for someone who's multilingual. So she speaks Russian, she speaks Japanese, she speaks English really well. So that's well-rounded, as you see, especially in the New York episodic television, you see a lot of roles going to multicultural and multinational people, and I think it's important to build on that diversity.
Oh, I'm
and
so
I think
glad
it's
you
important
brought
to build on.
I'm glad you brought that up, Rich. I'm so sorry. Mm-hmm. You know, with us doing the cell phones, we overlap. So I don't know when you finish your sentence because there's like a big, long gap. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to jump in. I have no idea if you're still talking or not. I apologize. I never jump in and overlap people. It's just the gap in the cell phone. But I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of, now I forgot what the hell I was going to say. I think it was focusing on character actors, and now I lost my train of thought. Well, because I want
and diversification.
Yes, because I really feel that the writers, and I'm working with people right now that are encouraging the guild or to have writers write parts for disabled people, more disabled actors. I mean, I can't remember what his name is, God forgive me, but he was on the Oscars. He did the whole speech on diversity. And I think that if you're going to talk diversity, you need to talk about diversity, and that means including more Asians, more disabled people, more people that are, it's diverse. It's not just one particular group or race of people that you want to add and call it diversity. It is diversity meaning Asians and Indians and, Indians from India, Indians from here, disabled people. So I think that more talent agencies should open themselves up and accept more clients and try to push parts for them, because sometimes you go into an audition and they're looking for a specific type, and a lot of smart talent managers and talent agents and casting people send in people who are not physically the part that they're asking for, but they know their clients well enough that they could change the mind of the people at the table, and it's been done a million times. So keep that in mind if you are a person that's working and you're pursuing a career as an actor. Don't think that it's just if you don't have a certain look and you're not what Hollywood attractive. If you have a great business sense for acting and you feel that you could be a good character act, you could be working. You definitely could be working. You can follow that dream. Am I right, Rich?
Yes, you are. I totally agree with it. You may not work every day, but you'll work.
That's right. And just because you're not starting, I always say if you haven't won an Oscar or a Grammy while you're in the womb, you're starting late in the entertainment industry. That's what I always say. But, you should get an early start on it as early as possible. But that does not mean that you cannot start in your 30s and 40s. There have been many, many cases of successful actors. As a matter of fact, I'm going to start a list of all the successful actors that started at age 40, because there is such a thing called ageism in not only corporate world, but especially prevalent in the entertainment industry. And I don't agree that it's always the case. I mean, if you're a really talented actor, you can break through that, whether you start at 40 or 50. And there are many, many actors who have, if you just read the story. So give me, I don't know if you can speak for this on an expert level, but I'm sure that you are able to give me answer this question. Just for beginning actors, what are some pet peeves that, by the way, to finish up about the talent manager business, if you are in New York and you want to give Rich a call, I'm sure that you can reach him somewhere. Where would they look for you?
No phone calls, please. You could send me a email. You could send me an inquiry email.
An email, and they would go to where do they go to?
Go to the part. You could go to our IMDb page at the Parmita Group. Parmita Group, and PARMETER.
Okay, and you can submit via email. Correct? Is that how they submit? Yeah.
I'll take submissions. I don't want to do it all the time because obviously I have clients that I have to work with, but I will take submissions right now.
Never know who you're going to get.
You never know.
All right.
That's right.
So to finish up with that, you can contact him via his website. Now, what are some pet peeves that directors have about actors? What are some do's and don'ts? Because believe it or not, Rich, a lot of actors who are starting out, especially older ones, they're set in their ways. They don't know what you should and shouldn't do on the set, and they go on the set. For one thing, I tell people, first of all, I always recommend that you start as a background actor. Because you will learn so many things. But what you want to learn most of all is not to participate in gossip on the set. Do not. And they're going to do it. You're going to run into people who don't know that that's something they shouldn't do, or they know and they do it anyway. That is the kiss of death, because there's always people listening. The production assistants are listening to you. There are people listening, and they will either release you right away on the spot, or you will not get a call because they've already called up the casting people and told them that you did that. So that is my one tip. Do not participate on that. What are some of the do's and don'ts for people for set etiquette?
Well, on set etiquette, if you're behind the scenes, and it's said, your background, you're seen, not heard. So keep when they're rolling, when it's rolling, just keep quiet. Do not talk. They could hear it. Do not talk. Do not move around. If you're just waiting for lights to be set up or the camera to be moved, do not talk. They do not like when a noisy set, because so many people are talking. Each department is talking to each other, and if the background people are talking, then it creates too much of a noise level.
Absolutely. Now
that's the main thing.
That's the main thing. No gossip, no talking on the set.
No gossip, no talking.
Now, we only got 2 minutes, and I want to talk about some of the things. You got some great projects coming up. What's exciting happening for you, Rich?
Yeah, sure. I'm basically right now I'm working on a production. It's a film called Night Swimming, which is we're working on that. Expecting it to come out in 2017. It's a crime thriller drama directed by my good friend Deacon Hoy, and I'm working on another project with Quanah J. Hicks. You pronounced his name properly, and you pronounced my last name properly. Thank you.
Wow.
Saturn's Window, which is going to be a fascinating look at our world and everything about what we do I guess it would be in a metaphysical point of view, and questioning reality versus dream state, that kind of thing. I'm starting a series come this summer. We're starting filming. It's called Demonico. It's going to be an interesting crime, action-packed series that basically it's going to be 8 episodes. I'm not exactly sure where it will be distributed, but it's 8 episodes, and they're short episodes. They run between 8 and 12 minutes, and it's going to be a really cool series with one of my good friend and good actor, Gerard Carrero. He's also one of my clients. So I'm working on that, and whatever. I'm going on auditions and going out there, meeting people, networking, which is very key in this industry, and just, working the business. Priscilla?
Oh, you have. See that? What I'm talking about, the lap there. Well,
yeah, I see the gap.
That was a huge one. Well, you certainly have the perfect job to find all the best parts. Being the talent manager, you get the top pick.
Well, no, I don't. Well, I don't. These are the other. A lot of times it's not. I'm just submitting like everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm being submitted.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of going in the room and doing your work in the room. And remember, even if you don't get the job, at least you auditioned.
That's
and
right.
You got to perform for someone.
Exactly.
It's not the casting director's decision to hire you. It's production. It's and the network.
A lot of people forget that. I'm glad you brought that up. They think, oh, damn that casting director. It's not just the casting director. It's a team of people. Well, Rich, my God, I'm so excited that you came on the show. You gave such great advice. Everybody is appreciative of you taking time to tell them, and that you're, a success story from going from a corporate world into being an actor. It can be done. Rich Meiman did it, and you can do it too. Please check him out on Twitter at @rmeiman. That's right, Twitter. Facebook under Rich Meiman. He's also on YouTube. And his website is rmeiman.wix.com. So check him out. Find out what's exciting. Follow his career. And follow him on Twitter and become a Facebook friend. And if you're interested in submitting, if you live in the New York area, go to their website, which is the Parmeter Group. THEPARMETER group.com, and there's an email and you can submit and tell them you heard his interview on Question Reality. Okay, Rich, say goodbye to your fans.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Peace and love. Take care. Bye bye.
Care. And we'll see you next week on Question Reality. Bye.
You're listening to Question Reality with Priscilla Leona, right here on LA Talk Radio.